It feels like I was trying to explore through the jungle, if only because those green vines are in my way. But I'm sure enough I can able to easily escape to the left, so that way I can able to move on to the next room, and that's as far as I can usually say about it. Hey, what's up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here. And once again, I am back for the likes of the Merxy Toys videos, as always. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Metroid for the Super Nintendo, or Super Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan, or Metroid 3 as was originally attempted, but either way, we're just gonna call it Super Metroid from now on. So, anyway, so last time we actually did somehow manage able to get, what else, some more pickups, especially noticeable that we actually got ourselves the space jump now, thanks to the forms of we somehow managed able to take down Dragoon. And as a result, he's pretty easy, all things considered, especially if you try to utilize the, the actual grappling beam onto the electricity stuff, and that way you can able to actually deal with him no problem. But honestly, I think doing the easiest method is probably the quickest of the bunch, whilst compared to the normal way, it can take a long time to able to beat him, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes, that's all I can say about it. So today, for this video is the fact that we're going to be able to, if I recall correctly, that we're about to be able to hit on to the last big boss, but until whenever we get to the finale portion of this entire playthrough. So, yeah, I hope you guys will actually be looking forward to this though, and myself included, because obviously we're getting very close towards the end of the game for this point. So, anyway, so a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that, well, only 11 days left now until Christmas is about to be approaching. And talking of which though, is the fact that today's day is of course the 14th of December today, in this case in 2022 today. So we had a lot of discussion we'd like to be able to point things out, especially noticeable we actually got ourselves some ton of information to discuss. But I'll get to more details onto that later, because obviously I need to find myself trying to able to get back into the forms of, you know what I mean, with all that quicksand and stuff like that. So just in case I need able to grab the next couple of items here and there. So exponentially, once we've pretty much almost done with the forms of Meradia, then we can pretty much guarantee we can able to hit back into Norfair, because now we've actually got ourselves the gravity suit, and that means about the fact that we can now able to explore more areas. In addition to that, we can also manage able to, as I said before, we can able to actually take down the last big boss before the finale portion. So in some cases though, we're able to come across into that for this video. So like I said before, that we will promise we will get into that. So anyway, something's worth mentioning though is the fact that I do have some good news and bad news when it comes to the forms of this particular Let's Play. The good news is though, we're still aiming for 100% completion with all the items obtained, as well as the forms of upgrades to obtain. But the bad news is though, is the fact that for I've double checked on my save file in this game, and then I found out that I've almost spent about over 3 hours. So unfortunately though, we can't able to actually get ourselves the best ending, sadly. If only because I was a little bit slow at first. Well, it's nothing to do with the forms of the exploration factor. It's more specifically when it comes to boss strategies that I've seemed able to feel a bit somewhat slow at. So as a result though, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. But at the very least I will show this off until whenever we get to the finale portion of this Let's Play. I'm pretty sure that maybe seems the case. So anyway, so I think this is where we're supposed to go to for, well, because I think we've already experienced the let's just say the quicksand on the right. So in some cases now we need to head over to the left. So just in case we're able to, you know, grab the remainings of those collectibles. So just to ensure about the fact that we can able to get the actual, the section done and finished. So I believe we get ourselves not only another missile expansion, but also, I will classify for saying, this will be the last reserve tank in the whole game, if I recall correctly. Well, mind you, it's been about 2 days ago since I actually last played this for sure. But either way though, we're able to get the missile expansion. And I think we've almost done with the forms of the missile expansions entirely, and also say applies to power bombs as well. So, hopefully, we're able to actually obtain the rest of those collectibles in due time. So, anywho, so a few things I want to explain for this particular conversation alike is the fact that, as far as I did manage to find out, that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is now getting itself its new generation of consoles release, because I'm presuming to you, usually back in 2020, that they're able to actually get the game on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Whilst in informs of it last year, we had the Switch version alongside with this exclusive content, as far as I'm assuming so anyway. But now it wasn't until whenever it gets to a point until next month now, in this case the beginning portion of 2023, that Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is now getting a PlayStation 5 release and Xbox Series X or Xbox One, because I'm presuming it's gonna be like exactly the same thing. So yeah, pretty cool to be able to see another version of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is now getting its next generation console versions of it. I'm not exactly sure of how the actual performance might go into, but I'm guessing that it might actually perform extremely well, and as a result, it will definitely receive a lot more high scores than I don't know. It has been a very long while since I actually looked upon Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, but I definitely know it's actually a really good game indeed. Oh yeah, speaking of that though, is the fact that one of those specials for the likes of the forms of SpongeBob's crossover special, the Title Zone, has been recently rescheduled to the different date. And that's what appears to be by the forms of it's going to be releasing until the January 13th, 2023. So yeah, it's going to be roughly the same day as, you know, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot for PlayStation 5, but also Xbox Series X. So yeah, pretty cool to able to actually have those two things combined, managed to able to release on exactly the same day as each other. So interesting for sure. And the next thing I want to mention is the fact that, relatively speaking, Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch actually receives a release date, and if I recall correctly, it's going to be releasing until next summer in July. So yeah, that will be pretty cool to able to actually have that in there. And on top of that is the fact that recently Sonic Frontiers has recently been sold for about 2.5 million copies sold in worldwide. So yeah, it's very impressive, especially considering how the fact that this is one of the greatest Sonic games ever, since technically speaking, since Sonic Generations. So yeah, about time they're able to actually get the game selling very well. And hopefully we're able to receive some DLC during at some point in next year, which it already did happen. So either way though, there's no point for able to mention more about it, because obviously I'm just really looking forward to able to experience the DLC stuff as far as that's been concerned with. So anywho, so now we head back into Norfair, as you can see. Because obviously that since, you know, we got ourselves the gravity suit with us, so this means we can now able to experience the next layer. So in some cases though, if you ever played the original Metroid before, you know exactly what I'm about to say about this. And it's also is very strange that we're going on the almost technically like exactly the same order of those two familiar bosses from the likes of the original game. Well, I don't know about you, but either way though, let's just go ahead and go. Oh god. I better need to able to start grinding some more health eventually, or exponentially we're able to actually stumble across the energy tank eventually. But either way though, not now though, because either way though, we just need to able to go, you know, go through this entire sections of Norfair. So yeah, there's not much else to tell. Well, at least thankfully we got ourselves some energy refuel station, so that should be all good for my part. And yeah, we'll just simply just space jump all across for this entire room. So at this point in time, I don't think we can able to actually use the gravel beam anytime soon, just because now we've actually got a space jump. So this means about the fact that we can now able to skip certain portions of certain sections that you haven't been to before. So speaking of which though, here we are right here. And yeah, again, you do need the forms of the gravity suit and the space jump as well, because obviously about the fact that it's hard to reach without it. So here we are, and this particular entrance looks familiar, because it appears to be we're going on to Ridley's lair once again, except this time this is on the Super Nintendo rather than on the NES basically. So anyways, let's save our game here, and we'll go ahead and explore through Ridley's lair. And I can assure you, once we're able to get into the forms of Ridley's lair, we will find out where Ridley was. So, after able to kidnapping the actual baby Metroid, since the forms of Sirius Station. So, yeah, everything else looks a lot more different this time. So, and it looks very detailed as well. And by the way, we now stumbled across the acid. So because of this though, if you dare touch the acid, it will drain your health a lot faster. So you just have to be very careful with the acid itself. Because, I've no idea why I somehow made a mistake, from the likes of in the previous videos ago, that in Norfair, I do found out about the fact that I accidentally say acid, but it turns out it's just lava in general. So, yeah, I do apologize for that particular incorrection information for the sake of the forms of which specific stuff to avoid or something like this happens will do. But either way though, that's saying something. So, anywho, and I get the strong feeling that if you go over here, I think this is where you're able to actually backtrack to, well, I can assure you it leads you back all the way to the beginning of this particular layer. But either way though, yeah, I was thinking about that because every time whenever you like, shoot something from here, or in some cases use the power bomb from the, for that section over there, it might be still closed off, so we're gonna have to able to figure out the another way to get to that point, so. Anyway though, so let's just go ahead and continue things on here, and just head on to the left, instead of, you know, going to the right and all that. Oh jeez, speaking of acid, I somehow stepped on one of them, so whoops. But luckily we're able to actually use the space jump, so we can able to skip this entire whole chasm of though, not only certain enemy encounters, but also acid as well. And oh god, okay, so I get the feeling we do need the power bomb for this, because otherwise it will reveal another Chozo statue. Interesting. Now I can assure you might be able to actually activate something like, oh I see, they somehow managed able to get rid of the entire acid, or to be more specifically, lowered the acid itself. Okay. Pretty cool, and now we can able to explore some tons of areas throughout this entire section of this entire, well, you know what I mean, so. Anywho, and something's worth mentioning for this point is the fact that tomorrow we're able to actually expect to realize that Sonic Prime is going to be coming to Netflix until tomorrow, so I'm very super excited about this as well. Because I just seriously am still excited about this particular Netflix series as a result. In fact, the last time I used Netflix actually was actually by the forms of Make You Mark Chapter 3 of My Little Pony stuff. But anyways though, if we go and use Space Jump over there, we get ourselves another missile expansion. Because if you dare touch the actual, that floor on the middle, that means there's going to be a trap. So in some cases, and I get the feeling we might face off against with another boss. So I wonder what boss fight are we going to be fighting against next. Well, this seems kind of familiar, even though it's kind of similar to the ones and how it does it from the likes of the beginning portion of the game. Like, you know how the fact that we previously already taken down Chozo from the likes of the forms of how it does it since the beginning, but now we face up against with the gold variation of Chozo. So in this case though, this boss is actually a little bit harder than the forms of how it does it on the regular Chozo. So yeah, that seems a little bit more, yeah, that's as far as I can try to summarize it such. So, but you know the drill. Basically, it's exactly the same boss as before, except the fact that, well, as you can tell, that he now starts to able to summon those, I would say, like, bombs at us. So in some cases, though, yeah, if you manage to take him down like anything else, then he should be down no problem. So anyway, So either way, let's just go ahead and actually access this door right here. And oh, and another thing too is the fact that recently, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection is getting itself its release. But first off, let's go get ourselves the best item in the game, or the best power-up in the game. That's what appears to be none other than Screw Attack. So, yeah, pretty cool. Screw Attack, son of a gun, cut that out. Anyway though, I have no idea why I managed able to bring this out. But anyway, so yeah, with the Screw Attack, much like the forms of how it does it since in Metroid 1 and Metroid 2, you can able to actually just go into the forms of kind of like a space jump technique or something like that, except you actually become invincible in this state. But before I continue my progressioning here, something tells me we need to hit back in here and get ourselves what perhaps is the last Super Missile expansions, I'm pretty sure. So we need to use the Screw Attack in order to able to destroy those blocks. And from here, we finally got ourselves the final Super Missile expansion tank. So, and I think that pretty much takes care of the forms of the rest of the Super Missiles tanks grinding. So, yeah, pretty cool, huh? So anyways, before I mention more about the forms of Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection, also it's want to point things out is the fact that, well, relatively speaking, out of nowhere, that Mario Kart 7 just managed able to receive version 1.2 for some reason. I have no idea what that fuss is all about, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes. Yeah, that just come out of nowhere. So either way though, I'm not exactly sure what that particular patch stands for the likes of the forms of Mario Kart 7 version 1.2. But either way though, let me know in the comments down below, just for I'm sure about the fact that I somehow almost lost track of it. So anyway, so another thing I want to point out is the fact that, well, as we said this before, Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection gets its release date, and it did say sometime in 2023, but then we found out that it's about to be releasing until April the 14th. So yeah, somewhat of a halfway point of April basically. So either way though, pretty exciting about that, even though I wasn't really into Battle Network as much as the forms of Classic Mega Man, or X Mega Man, or Zero, or ZX for that matter. But either way though, that might be saying something, so... well, I might be biased when it comes to likely preferring like which specific franchises I do prefer, but anyway. And another thing as well is the fact that specifically when it comes to the release of Strange World, well, despite the fact that it already came out on the big screen recently, but then I found out about the fact that the Disney Plus variation of that particular film, mind you, it's the same film as it's originally released on the big screen, but I found out that the Disney Plus release of Strange World is going to be releasing just before Christmas time, just like the forms of how it does it in Kanto from the likes of in last year. So relatively speaking though, it did say it's going to be released until the 23rd of December. Well, I might not necessarily able to see the film indefinitely, because I do definitely know for a fact that that film does manage to get itself its box office bombed recently, probably because I've no idea why that film just got box office bombed since during the forms of when it first came out on the big screen, which I've honestly have no words to think about it, but either way though, that might be saying something, so... okay, so I'm pretty sure it's nothing in here, so that seems kind of pointless to able to check in here. But I found out that we do need to hit up there and just activate this door around here. And from here I think this is exactly the same room as we went to earlier. Although, we need to use the Morph Ball right here to get, what else? Another missile expansion. So, nicely done right here. And now we're on 200 of those missiles, or something more than that. But I'm sure that we will able to catch, or should I say, we'll might as well able to get more missile expansions exponentially. So, anyways, let's just go ahead and go through here. And taking notice from the likes of one of those levels in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where basically though we need to like keep on going upwards because the actual acid is rising, even though it kind of reminds me of the forms of, you know, or is it the lava? Because I'm sure that this place kind of feels a bit familiar, doesn't it, with all that lava or acid, even though I can't really tell what's down below. But either way though, yeah, it does remind me of the level called Hilltop Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where you're simply able to get up, and then basically you just have to able to just, well, avoid any lava and stuff like that. So yeah, that's saying something. So anyway, so I think coming up is going to be a safe room. So in some cases there's a safe room just on to the right. So we're able to actually save the game from here. But then again though, I apologize about the fact that unfortunately though we can't get the best ending of the game, which in order to do that though, you have to able to beat the game for under 3 hours, which unfortunately I failed to do so. So, but at least we get ourselves the neutral ending, or the normal ending of the game. But either way though, it's kind of a shame that I spent it way too long for doing a lot of exploration or anything else like that. So anyway, so I believe we've almost there to Ridley himself. So in some cases though, we need to go through a lot of obstacles here and use these power bombs in the process, so just to ensure that we will get some progressioning there. And trying to take down those specific creatures with a simple beam charge, and also just use the plasma beam as well. So yeah, everything else goes all fine and dandy. So now before we continue things on though, we need to well, go in here and of course get ourselves our next power bomb. So we should be all good, all things considered. Oh yeah, and another thing I would like to mention about this is the fact that, unfortunately though, when it comes to forms of Mario Kart Tour itself, despite the fact that I still go back into that game sadly, after taking a break from the likes of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, DLC waves and stuff, well mind you, we're still waiting for Wave 4 next, until specifically next year, as we said this countless amount of times already. But, oh yeah, I'll get to more details on that in a second, because here we have, let's just say a mini fight basically, which appears to be as stronger variations of those space pirates right here, which, in order able to deal the damage on those tougher variations of those space pirates, you have to wait until that when he does that specific attack, and then when they turn yellow almost, then basically it's your chance to attack them. So, but here's the thing though, is the fact that sometimes I've always felt a bit struggled at first because of all that controls might take a bit of some time. But either way though, we can just essentially just try to able to take them down with the actual charged beam, with the plasma beam as well. So we can able to actually just to deal with these guys within okay-ish time, I suppose. So yeah, you just have to keep doing that until when they turn it into yellow, when he does like his little like a kick or something, and that way as soon as you're done with them both, then we can move on. So, and I think after this room, if I recall correctly, even though this room might be looked familiar, because obviously this is almost like the exactly the same, you know, aspect as the forms of how it does it in, well, the original Metroid. So, and I think, well, I don't think that we're not necessarily at Ridley just yet though. So first of all, let me go ahead and grind for some more of those missiles and stuff like that, because mind you, we've almost gone pretty low of specific weapon ammo. So either way though, we will definitely try to farm some more of those missiles eventually. So anyways, let's just go and use the screw attack to able to, you know, avoid a lot of enemies and all that stuff. And here's the forms of that familiar eye door again, ever since in Meradia. So yeah, which pretty much leads us to the next big boss. So anyways, let's go and use the regular missiles to this thing. There we go, that's everything else taken care of. And let's get into the forms of, perhaps this will, without doubt in my opinion, is one of the hardest boss fights in the game. Because, well, we'll point out whenever we get to it. So anyways, so let's get in here. And hello there, Ridley. It's been a very long time, hasn't it? Since the very beginning of the game. So yeah, basically here we have Ridley himself, and he's actually a lot more tougher than he evolves of how it does it since the original Metroid, because first of all, he's now big, and on top of that, the arena itself is a lot smaller than the evolves of how it does it since in the first Metroid game, and on top of that, he's a lot more aggressive this time around. So this is the reason why I say this is without doubt is the hardest boss fight in the game, but regardless of such though, this boss fight is pretty fun, especially considering how the fact that, well, you have to utilize sometimes screw attack until you're able to actually get enough jump height, until you're able to actually keep on using those not only regular missiles, but also super missiles as well, occasionally. So in some cases though, you need to do a lot of timing with going on for the sake of time, and as on top of that, we need to avoid a lot of acid from the bottom. So in some cases though, yeah, it's gonna have to able to be very cautious on this fight, because it can take you, about a couple of tries or a couple of hours if you're trying to able to deal the amount of damage to him. I could appreciate it if I somehow managed able to get myself my full health, but apparently because I keep on getting hit by not only tougher variations of space pirates, but also just getting dropped in the forms of the actual acid itself. But at least luckily though, we still managed able to have ourselves the reserve tank with us, so, well, I can assure you, originally I was gonna able to try to save up the reserve tank for later, but I get the strong sense of feeling I'm also able to actually just to die right here, so, which I get the horrible feeling that might be seems the case, so. And I believe we pretty much run out of the forms of those missiles already. However, trying to deal with power bombs though will not work against with Ridley, because the only weakness he has is just not only you know, beams, but also missiles as well, either regular or super missiles. So, but sometimes it can take a bit of a long time to able to beat him though. But either way though, it looks like I'm only down to like 101 health left, even though I'm actually gonna die right there, so. Well, actually I still got, ah, shoot. Because I didn't see that number counter right there. Ah, jeez. Oh, come on! Ah, come on! Wait, is that it? Oh, okay. That was it for Ridley then. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately though, I've lost my ability to able to use reserve tanks now, so in some cases though, well, thankfully though, just like fairies from the likes of The Legend of Zelda A Link to the Past, alongside with the forms of the medicine bottle from the likes of Link's Awakening, DX most likely, that basically if I run out of health, basically I can just simply revive, and oh no, that baby Metroid just somehow got out of this little container. But, at the very least, we got ourselves a free energy tank for, you know, defeating Ridley, so all that's never lost, so. Anyway, so that pretty much takes care of Ridley for this game, and jeez, he's actually a lot tougher in this game, as I said before, mainly because of all this aggressive behavior, or in some cases though, the damage output is a bit more devastating than it looks, so. But regardless of such though, I think that pretty much takes care of the forms of all 4 of those big bosses in Super Metroid. So, pretty cool though to be able to accomplish that, so. Anyway, so now we've actually done with that, but we're not exactly done with Norfair or Ridley's lair just yet, because obviously we still need to able to try to go after remaining collectibles first. So in some cases though is the fact that, well, exponentially also, we've almost done with the forms of trying to collect some more stuff around here, so. Excuse me, I got something on my throat there, I do apologize for that folks, but anyway, yeah, back into what I was saying about the forms of the Mario Kart Tour shenanigans again. Yeah, unfortunately though, my Team Bowser in a previous Team Rally thing, we somehow lost because, my god, we almost gone close to winning, but then we found out until whenever I do found out, the reason why we've lost, thanks to Team Peach, is most likely because, not only because we actually going pretty close to our victor amount, Like, at one point we actually on 52%, but then Team Peach was actually on 48%. But it wasn't until we discovered that the support bonus is actually a thing. And as a result, yeah, I'm just essentially rage quit the actual Team Rally system for Mario Kart Tour. Like, let me tell you right off the bat though, Team Rally, you're gonna be banned from my existence for about 2 months. So as a result, I just seriously can't stand that system when it comes to the Team Rally system, because not only because it's kind of not only unfair sometimes thanks to the forms of the actual support bonus system, but it's also incredibly luck-based. Like, every time when I woke up in the morning, specifically Wednesday morning most likely, when the next tour happens, the next thing you know is I keep on getting myself screwed over by the forms of not only the actual, the lack of progressioning for able to keep on collecting those event tokens, but it's also the fact the matter is though, is the fact that, well, the actual support bonus does become a fruition. So yeah, I just don't see the point of able to actually just to, like, don't even care about this, you know, the Team Rally stupid system again. So anyway, so from down here we get ourselves another energy tank, and I think we've only got 2 more left. So now I get the feeling that one of them is actually in Brimstar, and the other one is actually, conveniently enough, is actually one in Criteria. So even then though, we're able to come across into those as soon as we're able to actually get the actual conclusion of Norfair going. So in some cases though, yeah, everything else will be pretty much accounted for, so anyway, so I suppose the next thing I want to mention is the fact that Tetris 99 is actually hosting the 31st Maximus Cup, announced with the a new theme, but this time around though is going to be another Kirby themed Tetris 99 background, and this time it's inspired by Kirby Stream Buffet. So in some cases though, yeah, that's as far as I can say about this. So, and I think for the most part, I think we basically already discussed upon everything else we able to like to talk about. So anyway, oh yeah, let's get to the forms of that Mario Kart Tour stupid Team Rally results out of the way. That at this point in time, Team Bowser was now in 49%, and then Team Peach just got up to like 51%, and I just got screwed over and over and over again with all that stupid random luck factor to it, because as I said before, that Mario Kart Tour to me though has a very, very huge luck factor to it. Like, I just don't win very easily, because I get a strong feeling that Mario Kart Tour just gives me a lot of taunting right now. Especially, this is the reason why I just wish I want to go back into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe instead, or in some cases any other Mario Kart games in general, because again, as I said before, that the controls do really bother the heck out of me with Mario Kart Tour. Whilst compared to the other games, I can just simply control the game just fine, including Mario Kart Wii with all that motion controls and stuff like that. Although, mind you, there's a GameCube controller option for Mario Kart Wii. Well, mind you, I haven't got Mario Kart Live Home Circuit yet, alongside with the forms of the RC car built into it. So I will promise I'll get around to that at some point, despite the fact that Mario Kart Live Home Circuit did not sell very well. So because of this though, well, the only reason being for this is most likely because, well, of the actual lifespan boredom, because, well, I can assure you, because it has a lack of variety. Well, the only time it's a pretty cool variety though, all those different costume outfits and different cards, as well as the forms of different modes to interact and all that stuff. But that's, as far as saying goes, that's about it. So anyway, so let's go ahead and kill this this creature over here. So just to ensure that we will not only get some more of those super missiles, but also just any other pickups like health pickups and you name the rest. So, and something tells me about the fact that if you go over there, then I'm presuming that'll lead you it'll let you go all the way back to I wouldn't say it actually leads us straight to the forms of the actual bubble section. So anyways, let's use the power bomb here to able to explode this wall. And yeah, sometimes though certain parts can be respawned every now and then. So yeah, it'll lead us go back into the forms of the bubble section, so of Norfair at the very least. So, but then again though, as I said before, that's as far as I can say about the forms of this particular discussion. Oh, wait a minute! I just realized I'm actually missing something. Oh jeez, I'm such an idiot. Especially noticeable about the fact that if you know the actual thing left and right, then basically though, yeah, I get the strong sense of feeling I'm actually missing something, so... this means I have to go for a long stretch of road. This also means I have to go back into, well, Ridley's lair, so in some cases though, yeah, I wasn't really too fussed about it, but at the very least though, it's nice to be able to explore the previous areas again now, thanks to the forms of, well, you know what I mean, since we've pretty much fully upgraded. So this means it makes the entire exploration not so much of a difficult task. So, anyways, let's just go ahead and use the power bomb right here, so just to ensure that we will go through here. And luckily we are safe from the forms of that particular lava right now, so at least we don't need to worry about the forms of too much damage output, so... Oh yeah, and another thing I wanted to like to mention is the fact that CapKing74 is still playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, and what's even weird is that he actually started the, well, as we already know, is the fact that he did start the game as in Sonic's story for a little bit, but then as far as I realized, is the fact that, oh, and by the way, if you get up there, you can't able to actually just to break out of it though, because you have to go down and then use the, not only gravity suits, but also space jump to able to get up there, so... Anyway, but what I do found is a little bit weird, is that he did somehow once able to get Silver's story out of the way first. I can assure you for this point. Well, mind you about the fact that he almost finishes up with the forms of Silver's story before he decides to able to, God knows, go back into Sonic's story, or eventually get started with the forms of Shadow's story or something. But either way though, we'll find out during the later times for the sake of the later days to come, so... Anywho though, as far as I'd like to say for this point, I think that's as far as I can try to say about the forms of today's discussion. I mean, I would have wished if I would like to say something a bit more, but honestly, I think I'm pretty much running out of the forms of those news, updates, or anything else like that for the time being, so because of that, yeah, I think, suffice to say, I think the actual, the news so far for gaming releases and all that stuff is actually gone super swell when it comes to likely not only finally get to able to receive the release date for the likes of the forms of not only the SpongeBob crossover special, which is the title zone, and also with the forms of Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. So in some cases though, yeah, pretty swell. Although mind you about the fact that the majority of the Battle Network games are usually only exclusive to, I would say, Game Boy Advance or something. Well, mind you about the fact that there's technically another Mega Man Battle Network game called Mega Man Battle Network, no wait, it was actually called Mega Man Network Transmission. Yeah, that's the one. That plays kind of like the classic Mega Man games, except with a mixture of the microchip system with all the... it's hard to explain of how the game plays out to be, because I know for a fact that it's only came out on a Nintendo GameCube and stuff like that, which originally I was trying to get that game originally though, but then I found out that the game is actually a little bit bull-bustingly difficult, especially noticeable with the forms of Fireman himself, because, well, I just have no idea why that I managed able to point out something like that. But either way though, as far as saying goes, I think that's as far as I can try to explain about the forms of any other, well, news to point things out, especially considering how the fact that, well, as I said before, I get the feeling that 2023 will be a lot more expansive than the forms of how it does it in this year so far, at least in my opinion. But either way though, we're still gonna have to wait until whenever we get some more answers for the sake of the forms of maybe the next Mario game will come in during the forms of next year in 2023. God knows it will be a movie tie-in or a different game entirely. Well, mind you about the fact that I'm not exactly sure if the Mario Baseball game will become its existence because, well, much like, you know what I mean with all that. Well, at least if you don't account Mario Sports Superstars, because obviously it's just a compilation of 5 sports into one. So as a result, though, I think that's as far as I can try to explain about the forms of today's discussion. I can assure you for this point. So. But good news, folks, though, is the fact that we're pretty much almost nearly at the end of this game right now. So because of that, though, once we're done with this, well, exponentially we'll move on to the next installment of the series. Which, either way, though, we can't really tell which one's which so far. So, anywho, anyway, now I suppose I would like to mention about this as well is the fact that the actual snow itself still exists in the UK at the moment, but hopefully by that time until the later days to come, then basically the snow will able to actually melt itself. So, which I get the strong feeling maybe the sun might able to actually melt the actual thing itself, but we shall see and during the forms of the later days to come for the likes of the UK country or something like this happens. So. Anyway, though, yeah, again, nothing more to add. It's just about the fact that there was some brief, news I would like to point out, but either way, again, there's not much else I can talk about, so. And obviously, I just keep on getting hit most of the time. Well, specifically with this acid, but anyway, we've somehow managed to get ourselves the next missile expansion as far as I somehow missed out on. So. And at the same time, though, I have to go for this a lot of, like, walking around and stuff like that, which I think this also means that that's another reason why I'm probably not going to get the best ending, of course, sadly, because of all, obviously, with all that dragged-on moments for a lot of exploration. But at the very least, though, we did manage to able to sort that out, though, at the very least. So, and I think we've almost done with the forms of not only, missile expansion tanks, but also the energy tanks, and I get the feeling we might actually get ourselves the last power bomb eventually, but we'll find that out and during at some point in this coming Friday. So, because obviously we're actually getting very close towards the end of 2022, because again, I'll let Maximo mention more about it until when he gets into the final thoughts of 2022 itself. So. Anyway, so I think I might as well take a break for a little bit, and I need to find the save spot, so just in case we can able to actually just well, get in there, and save our game in the process in this bubble room of Norfair, and everything else checks out there. So, yeah, because of this though, we're almost done, folks. So anyway, so suffice to say, yeah, I'll end things off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Super Metroid. That is the fact, though, not only do we need to get ourselves the last few pickups, but also we're going to be hit on to the finale portion of the game. But either way, though, we'll find out until at some point in this Friday, like I said before. So I'll see you guys on that day. Later, fellas.